if we're going. It says on air.
We're on air, but like I won't see it for a little bit because latency.
That's right. Okay, cool. Then I will just wait until something pops up on my screen and I know everybody can see me. Can everybody hear me? Oh, they're probably hearing all of this because there's like a feedback loop. Oh, so they're seeing all this now. Hi. Welcome here. Welcome in. My name is Sophie Rose, but of course I knew that if you're here, it's lovely to see you. No. Welcome to the very first episode of Story on. If it's no good, then it's great. We'll just have a little lag, and I'll just trust that it's getting out there 30 seconds later, and I'll just live in the moment. You good, David? Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'm going to keep going. I am going to preface this with a little bit of what you call no switcher connected. What did you do? Davis?
Huh?
Oh, okay, it's back. Okay. I thought it wasn't recording for a second. All good. We're having technical difficulties. It's the first episode. We're doing this all for the first time. All right. I'm going to start off with a little bit of history about this story that I want to write. Now, I started writing when I was in 4th grade because I was a weird little kid who didn't talk to people, and I needed an outlet for, personal growth. Oh, I hit that. And so I learned to write. And I specifically had a story that came to me, and it was about a girl. Like, what if this girl could control lightning? Okay, what if she could harness it in her hands, electricity, and she was all powerful? What would that be like? Like, would she have allies? Would she have, friends? Because that's kind of what, I was thinking about a lot in 4th grade. So in class one day, we were assigned to make little booklet stories, and in which I wrote down the beginnings of my little story with my little, this is the first one. This is the first draft, the first ever publication by Sophie Rose, made by me. There's even pictures, self-insert pictures. It's so bad. It's lovely. It's amazing. I made 7 copies of these. And I still have them today. But you know what? 4th grade me eventually went to 5th grade and then to 6th grade. And so I wanted to level up because I loved it so much. Bye, Davis. Love you. And I wanted to level up. I wanted to keep going. And so I took the story that I had all the ideas. I was like, okay, I'm going to make a storyboard. I've heard about these things before. I hear they're really cool, so I'm going to make one. So I got a little board like this, and I started writing, okay? I had my plots, I had relationships, the main goal of the good guys, the main goal of the evil guys, individual goals, all these things, and I wrote them all out. This thing is so old, you guys. I made my dad and my brother dig this out of storage to bring to show you guys, so you're welcome. Now everybody knows about, I could see what Sharpies I had available to me in the colors I chose to use for this. Anyway, I made this storyboard. So I call this version 2. And version 2 eventually started to get written down more and more, and I would take a year working on it, and then I would forget it for a few months, and then I would work on it again for a long time. But eventually, I got a job at Cinemark, which was very fun. My first job ever. I loved it so much. And when we would have movies, like a Cinemark does, movie theater, occasionally there would be like dips when like between the movies, like a movie started at 4, then we started at 6, but like 5, nobody's there. So we would have a lot of time to do nothing. And so I was like, I should just write while I'm here. And I didn't have any paper, so I took receipt paper, I stole it, sorry, and I would write down my story, and I would save them all up, and then I would transfer them onto my computer once I got home. And due to that, like, sheer will of I couldn't have my phone out at work. I mean, you can't, you're not supposed to. So through that, I had finished that draft of that book, and it turned out to be like 160,000 words. And it was 160,000 words of complete garbage. It was terrible. It's so bad. But there were parts of it that were so inspired about things that actually happened to me. I love this story so much. I still wanted to see it grow. So what I ended up doing was I ended up, taking a step back, looking at all of it again, and I'm like, I should try again. So I made another storyboard and I tried to rewrite it, and it still wasn't working. And I came to a point, I was at dinner with my parents and my mom, she's a really good writer too. We were talking about different story elements, and we were talking about her book, but it kind of hit me. There are parts of this book that I love so much. Why am I wasting time telling the story, like adding all of these trinkets and things on it, when I should just be talking about the factor that matters to me? So I did. So I scrapped 160,000 words, scrapped it all. I've put it all away. And I'm gonna start again, right now, on camera, to write the story. So I've got a foundation for this story. I've got, I know these characters over time, they have grown and changed in my head and as I've changed. But I'm finally gonna tell the story with the cornerstone pieces that I care about the most from these gobbledygook that I have made before. So I'm so excited. So that's a little bit of history about what has led me to this today of doing this with you guys. So as I said, I promise I'm gonna try to do everything mostly on camera. Of course, I might have some things where if I write it down, write it a few more some dialogue in, I'll post it on community notes. But I'm gonna try and write it all on camera, but I do have a pretty good foundation. So I know some of my characters already. I know what my premise is. I know my theme. And that's actually what we're gonna get into right now. Okay. So the premise of the book, I have it written out already, and I'm gonna read it out to you and tell you the thought process of what I'm sharing, what I'm not sharing. So, parched Diet Coke. For all you addicted fans out there, I am one of you. All right, let me pull it up. Okay. This is my premise. This is the hook. This is the back of the book. Barnes & Noble, what you're reading. Okay. Ashley Parks is an agent of GLOVE, an organization assigned to brokering peace between warring nations in the name of unity. When what should have been a standard mission goes terribly wrong, the director decides to assign her a teammate. This is the last thing Ashley needs, not when she has her own agenda: revenge. Will this new teammate prove useful, or will they just be another untrustworthy foe? So that's the start of it. And I'm reading it again for the first time. I wrote this a week ago while I was getting this all ready. This, to me, screams, we've seen spy movies, right? It screams spy, right? We've seen that before. That's not something completely foreign to us. In fact, some would argue that because of Marvel and superhero fatigue that's kind of going on, this is kind of a story that people would like before. What is fun about this story that I might try to rewrite this premise to be more about is the fact that her teammate that she is going to learn and befriend, her teammate and their friendship is the cornerstone of this entire story that I have invented. Their friendship both makes them better and makes them stronger in every sense of the word. But it also, for a time, makes them incredibly annoyed with each other. So in the original, two renditions of this book, they were childhood friends, these characters. And since they were such good childhood friends, that's the cornerstone of the thing. They go through all these adventures together. This is what kind of started me I need to rewrite this, because I realized these are such good friends. How can we cannot see them becoming friends, That's the part that I care about, of them being friends. So we're going to learn how they become friends. It's a huge enemies to friends sort of thing. So that is the premise of the book. And it's got some keywords popping out: revenge, trustworthiness, peace, things are happening. So now I'm gonna go into my theme, and I've already worked on this a little bit, so I won't, so it'll come like I have all this all prepared, but I promise I have no script in front of me. I just have a tiny little whiteboard of reminding me when to do things. Okay, so when I invented my theme, I picked a few words for my premise, like what I just did here. I grabbed trustworthiness. That was a huge one, because their trust is what's going to make or break if they're going to work together well. So trustworthiness. And what does it mean to really trust someone, especially when you're in this universe that we'll get into, where you're a spy, where you're kind of an agent, where you've got to, work together, trust your life, put your life in somebody's hand. And if you don't trust them, how can you do it? So I got trustworthiness. That's a huge thing that's gonna be talked about. And then I have, she talked about revenge. Now this is a big part. Ashley Parks is my main character. And Ashley has a very, very dark past, an event. Not really a past, because it takes place, like she has her normal life, and then I say she has her sort of origin moment when she becomes this superhero, when she has these powers, but we don't get to know what it is immediately, because the story's going to start when she's already set as an agent, where she's gone through all that. But the kicker is that she has no idea what happened to her, because she has completely forgot this trauma, which is the next step of our premise, of our theme, is overcoming trauma. So I'm going to write that down. I love my little markers. Overcome trauma. There we go. So we got that. And the last thing was our other character, and I'll say her name now, Ember Fry, which is going to be her teammate in this thing. She is going to be, unlike Ashley, who is like grounded in being an agent, like she has been established, like this is kind of who she is. She is a new agent. She has her own past that's not going to be explored a lot. So she's complete, just like a mystery figure in this story when we introduce her. And since we don't know who she is, we quickly learn that she also does not know. And she also is, in fact, kind of struggling to be this person, because she's not like Ashley, who knows like what she's doing in the agent world. She's completely like, what am I doing? So I'm gonna say self-realization is a huge part of this story. Don't spell. And can you guys see that? I think you can. I might go check. I don't know if it's on the thing. Ooh, that's very, very small, but I trust you because you're listening, obviously. Okay, self-realization. Okay. So we have these three factors, and I'm going to use all three of these. This is how I did it to make my theme. And my theme in the story is going to be so important, because this is what every single chapter, every single character is going to go back to. So my theme in this book, pause for dramatic effect, will be our bonds are stronger than our pain. Typo. Our pain. I'm so excited. It's so good. I am so pumped. Because this is something that I feel can hit with so many people, because it hits so hard for me, especially this last year of my life, where I have made so many bonds with people, and I have like made better friends. I've gone closer with family, and you know, like I had a lot of pain, and it's like as those relationships like grew, I could feel some of that pain go down. And it's not like it went away. It's not like it disappeared. It was simply like I just cared more, and it was softer. And that's really what I want to happen in this story. So I'm going to get into the characters now, and the characters are going to be very important because they're going to go right back to the theme. They're going to show this evidently of who they are, especially Ashley, who is our protagonist. So everybody take a mental picture. Thank you. Okay, it's going away. I hope you got it. Okay, our bonds are stronger than our pain. Our theme. I'm going to write it down in a little corner so I can represent how things are going to go back to that. But now we're going to move on, and we're going to do characters. How am I on time? 6:30. It's like been 15 minutes. I could take longer. I don't know. Okay. Trustworthiness. Talked about that. Okay. I'm going to put these over here, actually. So, doof. Poof. Perfect. Okay, these are going to stay over here. And we're going to go into our characters. So first, I have my protagonist. And this is the self-insert when you're in 4th grade, okay? This is the character that you invented that's just you with a sepia filter on top of it, okay? But that's not who she is anymore. She's not just me, okay? In fact, I would say that she's a lot not like me anymore, because Ashley Parks is a very cold character in the beginning. She is going to be numb. She's going to be kind of rude and kind of unlikable, which is what I really want. But she's going to be good at her job. She's going to be very efficient. She's something akin to her powers. Because she, of course, you know, does electricity. And while electricity is very hot, I also see it as very pointed. Like when it's used, it's just like lightning, you know, just, you know, amazing sound effects. All right, so we have Ashley Parks. The name came when I invented this name. I can't quite remember why I got Ashley. I think I liked it because it was like ash, and it was like kind of like gray and dirty, and I kind of liked that. And then I got Parks because I thought it sounded like Sparks, and I thought that would be really funny if a nickname was formed out of that, of Ashley Parks is Agent Sparks or something like that. Like so we could I have this dynamic plan between Ashley Parks and Ember Fry where Ashley's gonna introduce herself like I'm Ashley Parks, and she's gonna be like, Sparks? Your name is Sparks? It's really funny in my head. Okay, so we have Ashley Parks, which I'm gonna write down for us now. Ashley Parks. And that's a little bigger, so hopefully you guys can see this. Ashley Parks. Oh, my eye. No. Ashley. Poof. Okay. So we've got Ashley. And there's a few things that we need to figure out about Ashley. Okay. She's obviously our protagonist. But what does she want? What does she sound like? Where is she from? What does she do? What does she look like? These are all the questions that I have to ask and I have to figure out. So some of the things I already know because I have lived with her for a very long time in my head. But some of these things I don't know. Something I struggle with as an author is my tone of voice, because I feel like I have a very specific voice and it is my voice, and I never change it to be her voice, and it's a problem. Even though I'm clearly very funny, question mark, I have to remember that characters have to be different. We don't all talk the same. So I'm gonna write these questions down. We're gonna say, what are the 5 most things I want to get out of this character today? Okay. I want to know basic description. What does she look like? So I'm going to write looks. Looks, question mark. We have looks. we have background, like where is she from, which some of this I don't know. I know the key parts. I know that I want her family to be somewhat, I don't know what the word is, smart, sort of important people, because that explains what happens to her and the why on how she gets her powers. So, what she looks like, what her background is like. Background, I'm gonna say, what are other, just basic adjectives, I guess, to describe her. So personality, I'd say I'm gonna write that down. So some things we can knock down. Personality, which that in turn will help create her voice with her personality. Because, right, I want her to be cold, and I want her to be, I want her to be very direct, a little socially dim, I would say. Like not like she's not smart, but like she is a little disconnected. Disconnected is such a good word for this, because that's what she is. She's completely disconnected from everything around her because she is in pain. And she's gonna overcome it, or else everybody's gonna die. Okay, personality. Okay, background, looks, personality. And then the most important thing I have to establish here and now is her motivation. Because unlike other stories, I really, truly, nearly and dearly want this to be a protagonist-driven story. Because so many movies and stories nowadays have villains who are actually the protagonist. And I know that sounds confusing because protagonists are usually heroes. But protagonist, I believe, only means the person who is attempting to do something, attempting to accomplish something. A really big example, I don't know if you've seen this Pinterest pin, but is on like Avengers Infinity War. Thanos is the protagonist because he is the one trying to do something, and the Avengers are the antagonists because they're trying to stop him from doing it. So I don't want this to be like that. I want Ashley to be the protagonist. She is aiming to get something, and she will do whatever it takes to get it. And in this case, it is something truly dark, which I am so excited. Don't drop this. Okay, fine, chill. The caffeine is kicking in. Do you see it? Do you see little hairs sitting on end? Okay, motivation. Also, this is literally just me in my room, like all the time. The only thing that's changed now is I have an actual camera and it's being recorded, but I just do this in my room. This is just my internal dialogue coming to life. So you're welcome for this. Okay, motivation. Okay. I'm going to get these 4 main things onto the thing. The thing. That made a lot of sense. Thank you for your unadulterated support. Okay. Boop. 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 Okay. And then we're gonna do the purple marker because I like purple. You know what? Purple's a great number. It's color. Okay. So we've got background. Now when I invented Ashley, of course I made her look just like me because that's who she was in the beginning. She was just me, 4th grade me. But now she's an adult, okay? She's a woman. She's 20 years old, completely, practically dying. She should get a Roth IRA at this point. But I've always pictured her as a stark contrast to Ember's character and vice versa. They are meant to be like opposites. And not in opposites of a way of like, oh, the chemistry is so good, the opposite. No, I mean like they have the same focus, but they have very different ways of getting there. That's what I mean by focus. And that goes for looks too. So I imagine Ashley has very dark hair. She's very, very kind of darker skin, you know. I don't know if I would say like olive skin, but it's darker. It's a darker shade. I, in some ways, have based some of this off of real life. I have a best friend who has a lovely, nice, darker skin, and I like that shade for this character as well because I feel like it focuses, it brings back to the eyes, her eyes, which, you know, are also going to be brown, but it's, I like it. So she has very pointed features too. She is, you know, like kind of fox, you know, like from Hunger Games, how the fox girl is supposed to look like. That's what I kind of imagine with her. Like she's kind of got like a pointed jaw, like pointed nose, but then it gets soft around the eyes. I don't see her with like pointed eyes. And her hair is probably very tucked back. Like it's brown, it's in a ponytail. She doesn't have bangs. It's slicked back because she is direct. She's cold. She's completely focused, undeterred. That's who she is. So I'm gonna write that down. Key features, so brown hair, brown skin. Wait, that's works. Where's looks? Looks. Brown hair and skin. Skin, and eyes. I could give her blue eyes. Which I could. If I want her to be like very sharp everywhere but her eyes, which are the window to the soul, I could have her eyes be blue as sort of like a softer, or green maybe. You know what? Okay, question mark. Comment below what color eyes you think she should have. I will let the people decide. And then she's also, you know, hard features, hard pointed features. See my dyslexia at play? I just made 2 U's. All these markers are dying. It's okay. Hard pointed features, hair slicked back. I would say she's pretty tall. Like, not obviously taller than me. I'm tiny. Like, I don't know if I'd say like 6 foot though. Like, that's too tall. I would say maybe like 5'6", maybe 5'5". We'll set in stone. 5'5". Oh, my tinnitus. Very on today. Woo! Okay, 5'5" inches. Anything else that matters with looks, with what she looks like? I imagine a lot of black and white clothing for this character. Obviously not too much to make her seem like she's not goth, she's just direct. But it's meant to be, like I said earlier, a contrast to Ember, who is very colorful and bright and blonde and blue-eyed, but also very spunky and fun. So she doesn't wear a lot of bright colors. I would say neutrals. Neutrals is a good thing. Neutral colors is her thing. She's a vanilla mom, or a beige mom, or whatever that's called. Whatever people are decorating their house with these days. Okay, looks are down. Now I have background. I have taken a little bit of inspiration from my best friend who is Native American because I find it very interesting. And obviously, since their friendship is the cornerstone of this story, I take inspiration from real life, which is between me and my friends. So I would say that's her background. But I would say her parents, Ashley Park's parents, are very key and vital to her origin because in the original adaptations, I had planned, iterations, I had planned for her to be struck by lightning while on a camping trip, just sort of randomly. But then as I looked more into like the science of like how I want this power like thing to work, this power structure, it makes more sense that it is a more high-tech, like more connected with almost space. And we'll get into a lot of that later about like the world building. That's going to be another live stream. But because of this, there needs to be a reason why this 20-year-old girl is there if that's not what she's studying and that's not what she does. So she's going to be there because her father works there, and that's what kind of starts us off. So her father is a scientist. So let's write that down. So Native American, I'll figure out which tribe later because I have some Cherokee ancestors, and I don't know, maybe I'll like pay homage to them by doing some awesome research and figuring out like what could apply to this character here. That was not the right word at all. Native. Okay. And then her father is a scientist, like a NASA sort of scientist. So I'll invent a different one, obviously, than NASA because I don't want it to be something real. All the entities and organizations I want to be made by me because then I can control them and I can say who exactly they are instead of saying like NASA's doing this wild experiment that caused a big explosion and stuff. So father, scientist. And I would say her mother is probably still in the picture because I don't like the thing where all your parents are dead. I feel like that's an overrated take on stories where their parents are just all dead. That being said, Ember's parents are dead. They're not dead. Okay, one of them is just, we don't know where he is. We'll get into that. That's the next 10 minutes. Okay. So mother's still in picture, but they might be a little more separated because of business, because father's going to be kind of really big scientist and stuff. And he's always traveling, he's never around, which forces Ashley to become nicely independent sort of person. And she's here on this thing, and this origin happens where she gets these powers, where something terrible happens to her. She eventually gets out of it, she gets to Glove, she completely forgets about it, and does not remember what happened, but knows that something did. See, that's the worst thing. I saw this Pinterest post where it was like, where characters lose their memory, right? And it doesn't take away the pain, but it just takes away the context. That's basically the entire arc for her. That's the entire arc. It's so good. Okay. So personality. We already talked about this before. This is an important distinction though, because there is a personality before the origin, after the origin, start of the story, and at. So I'm obviously doing what's here now, like who we're gonna meet her as, because the story's gonna be told from her perspective, from her mind. So it's gonna be who she is in those moments. But there's gonna be allusions to the kind of person she was before it happened, you know? Not like a complete like shift, like she literally is like, oh, I used to be Samantha. No, she was just the same person. She wasn't stretched as much, you know? Like it's like a good shirt, you know? Like when you really stretch out a good shirt and it doesn't really like go back to the way it was. It's still the same shirt. It's not as good, but you know, then you can take it to a dry cleaner and get it fixed, because that's a very important part of the story, is that she's going to reclaim a bit of the personality before, but still become almost a new person entirely, because that's called growing up. And it's gonna be very sad, and I love it so much. Okay. Yeah. Causing pain is very fun to fictional characters. Okay, personality. So, cold, direct. I want to say like melancholy or emotional. I would say stubborn. She's very stubborn. She's very smart and intelligent too. I wouldn't say she's clever. I would say she's smart, because there's slight differences. I always associate clever with the ability to get away with things, which I know that's not what clever is, but it's more of like a problem solving, where I feel like Ashley is a more of just smart person in general, where of like how to do things rather than how to get away with things. So smart, so stubborn, smart. What else? What else? Awkward. I'm gonna put awkward. She's not very suave. She's not very personable. Everything's told from her perspective, which will be interesting. She'll see the world very, very sort of dull and black and white, a little like missing things. And I'll try to make that very clear in her tone, where she will identify like somebody's face, but not really make that connection of what they mean. Like, I really want her to like know what she is missing, but doesn't know what. Like, she knows something is, but she doesn't know what. Now that brings us back to motivation. Motivation. So when I rewrote this story with the idea of I need to tell these two's friendship beginning, like that's what I need to rewrite this entire story plot, because it needs to be centered around these two and they need to learn to become friends. That's what I want to know. So when I did that, that completely ruined everybody's motivations because they used to be something before. So it brought me back to, okay, well, what is she going to want now? She just got out of this terrible tragedy, this terrible thing that happened to her. Her mind is actively rebelling against her, and it is making her forget everything. And she's trying to remember, and she can't, and she kind of doesn't know why, and she feels like people are encouraging her not to explore this, and that's going to make her want to explore it that much more, is what I want. So her motivation is to find out what happened. She wants to uncover the source of her pain. And more than that, she wants to punish the people who caused it. It's a very kind of menacing motivation. And so she has to keep it secret because obviously she works with this agency that's about brokering peace. And she has this kind of dark, and she's going to know this. She's going to know, like, this is sort of a selfish want. This is something kind of horrible to want, but she can't help but want it because she is missing so much and she is in pain. So, oh, I just looked at the chat. Oh, thanks, Davis. Thanks, Liam. Awesome. Okay, so she's in this pain. So I'm going to write this down, try to make it down into one like sentence of what she wants. Let's see. Okay. Uncover the truth. Uncover the truth and make them pay. This is so fun for me because I don't know if any of you know me in real life. I often play very sunshine characters, and it's very fun to write a character's perspective that is really just kind of gritty. But I don't want it to be too gritty. That's why this other character, our deuter protagonist, I don't know if that's the right word, I'll look it up. Our deuter protagonist is so important because it is the balance. It is the gritty and the light. It is the dark and the joyful. It is all of it. Because I'm not a negative person at heart, which is why I play sunshine characters, is because I like it when things have happy endings. And such, I will write happy endings. Okay. Now that we have all of this, I'm going to take a brief picture of this for my own record, even though I could probably just look back and, contact all this. But I'm going to take a brief picture. Awesome. That's our main character. That's who she is. We're gonna do more deep dives onto her. I'm gonna ask questions in the community. If you have any notes on this character of like how I can make her even more unique, I might work with some artists I know to get some like art of her drawn up so we could really see what she looks like not just in our heads, but out. But we're gonna stop there for now, and we're gonna move on to the next character, our deuter protagonist, which is Ember Fry. So let me get her name up there, and we'll erase all this, and I will start again. Okay. And I know all of you are screaming at me. Ashley Sparks is a decently subtle name, but Ember Fry, especially when you learn that her power is to control fire, is incredibly on the nose, and I'm aware, and I'm going to lampshade it. Don't worry, but I can't help but love that name for her. This name was formed when some of it is based off of a friend I used to have who was super fun and super influenced this character of who she would be. But the other part of it was I just found the name Ember. I was like, she controls fire. That's so fun. And fourth grade me was like, I love it. But now, you know, college freshman me understands it's a little on the nose. So I do plan for Ember to not be her real name. I'm planning for that to be a nickname, a very well-suited nickname, but a nickname nonetheless. So, and since that is her nickname, it'll be like a point of contention because Ashley, oh, another thing I should know, Ashley's very untrusting. That's another thing that she has. She's a very judgmental person. She's really not fun. I do not like this person. Like, the more I talk about Ashley, the more I'm like, ugh, this person sucks. But it's okay, because she's going to become a better person through the course of this story, naturally and lovely, and through her own volition and personal growth. And it will be beautiful. But it's going to take a while to get there, and there's probably going to be cringeworthy moments if I know my writing. I'm going to do this all in purple, because I said I was going to do it, and then I lied to you, like a liar. But first, I'm going to breathe, because I've got something in my throat. It's gone. Now it's gone. Okay. Ember, complete opposite of Ashley. So she's going to have light skin. She's going to be blonde. She's going to have definitely blue eyes, maybe brown eyes if we end up switching Ashley's eyes. The more I think about it, the more I like it. Plus, and if her eyes are brown, it'll be another contrast to the fact that Ember's entire character is supposed to be she's supposed to make people feel at ease. She's supposed to make people feel comfortable because she is just that kind of wacky. She's that kind of just like out there that you don't expect a lot, and she actually has deeper motivations at heart. So I like the fact that if she has brown eyes and Ashley has blue eyes, then it's like a really good contrast of their secrets. Okay, that's what we're doing. I've decided. Okay, but we got the 4 things again. So we got look. So, okay, brown eyes, blonde hair, and light skin. I imagine her very freckly, like very big eyes sort of person. She might have bangs. She might have like wild hair, like obviously straight, but you know, like in her face slightly, like completely impractical, like it's stupid to the point where it's just like, what are you doing? Get that out of your face. So, okay, light skin, Caucasian. Awesome, much better marker. Light skin, blonde hair. Brown eyes. She's gonna be shorter than Ashley, probably 5'2", you know, so just a little bit taller than me, so she's quite short, actually. Is that too short? Should I bump her up an inch? Maybe, because then Ashley will towering over her. Okay, 5'3", we've changed it. Okay, light skin, blonde hair, brown eyes, 5'3". Is there anything else? What kind of colors? The fire that she burns, that's her superpower, her ability to control. It's going to be a lot of colors because it's not going to be regular like Airbender, the last Airbender where it's all either blue or orange. It's going to be a mix of both. Like she can like make that blue fire, but also orange, and it kind of like depending on what she's trying to do, goes between the both. She's very colorful, is the point I'm trying to make. Very colorful in both language and outfits. But she's not like a sunshine character. I don't imagine her as just like a perfectly like, oh, hi, how you doing? No, I imagine her like, hey, what you doing? Very much my personality now, except for a little less sunshiny, a little more practical, a little more smart alecky, witty, quick on her feet sort of character. I imagined her with very pleasant features, you know, square, roundish face, you know, nice to look at, pretty. pleasant, nice, you know, overall very like a trusting individual. You're supposed to try to kind of trust this person, which is cool for Ashley, who doesn't trust really anyone. This is so much talking. So nice to talk to someone who physically cannot tell me to stop talking. Okay, so that's what she looks like. And then we got background. So her background, unlike Ashley's childhood, which was relatively normal, and then the terrible event, it's the opposite again. I want Ember's home life to be kind of super bad, to like, she's got a rough past. I imagine she has parents with some sort of substance abuse problem, you know, something that forces her to also look out for herself, but kind of grow a thick skin and sort of create this personality as a coping mechanism for what's all crazy, you know, I'm gonna like poke even more crazy out sort of thing. So she becomes very smart alecky because of that. So her mom is probably gonna be the one. Also, PSA to all moms out there, I love you, especially my mom. This is not in any way based off of real life, only for the facts of this character. So, mom has issues. So, mom has issues, dad not present. So she's really like, I really want to give out the fact that this is sort of a reveal almost, that you would not guess that she has this because she is very energetic, very easygoing, but she has this thing. She's good at masking. So, dad not here. Dad not here. And so back to the contrast between her and Ashley is the fact that Ashley, you know, pretty good childhood, is going to be Ember, pretty bad childhood. Something happens. And that thing that's going to happen is she is going to be found. She's going to be discovered by the agency is going to happen. So the agency, GLOVE, which I call it, which is a acronym, GLOVE, which is, you know, up for change. It's something I invented when I was, of course, in 4th grade, and I've kind of stuck through it with it, but I have somewhat stepped away, you know, I'm less in love with it now. So that'll be up for debate on what I want to actually do. But this agency designed to broker peace throughout the world. She gets discovered by the director Fallon. And we'll go into her character later. We're going to focus on just these two, I think, today. Well, I don't know. We've got 45 minutes because I'm planning for this to be an hour-and-a-half long stream. And if you have to hop out now because of that, that's okay. But we're going to stick with... I'll briefly get into them because they're fun. I really like them. So she gets discovered by director Fallon. And I have this interaction in my brain sort of forming where Ember tries to steal her car and it sort of becomes this thing, and then later, because of certain testing, they managed to recreate what happened to Ashley, and she has powers now, and it's sort of this accident, like it was someone on purpose, but nobody thought it would work, and now it is, and she's thrown into this new life, and it sort of gives her this purpose. So Ember is super into the agency. This sort of happens, this sort of saves her life. So she is super devoted to the agency. She's super devoted to director Fallon. And yeah, that's why she has sort of become this bright person, is because, you know, like she was going down a dark path, but then something great happened. Now this is her lot in life, and she's making it work. She's turning it around. So that's kind of alludes to more of who she is. So, discovered by Fallon. So that brings us back to, we talked a little bit about her personality, right? She's quick-witted, clever. Quick-witted, clever. Everybody seen Wicked? We're so good. Okay. Clever. She's snarky. Pretty bright, I would say. And unlike Ashley, she is good with people. She is suave. She is a people pleaser, but not like, she needs to, but like she can. So suave, good with people. And you can see my handwriting slowly deteriorating over the course of this live stream because I have terrible handwriting, but I can, if I focus, it makes it better, and I am unfocusing because I'm having too much fun. All right, so we've kind of established where she comes from, who she is, and now her motivation. And same thing with Ashley. I had to redo so much of it because her original. So fun fact, Ember in the original story was the main character. It was her voice, it was her perspective from everything because I wanted it to be a mystery of what happened to Ashley. And this is her like childhood friend and she's trying to discover this. And then when I really solidified that I wanted it to be a mystery that even Ashley doesn't know, that's when I sort of fell in love with telling it from her perspective, of her limited eye perspective, even though it's so intimately vulnerable of her secret. So because of this, I'm like, what do I do with Ember now? They become friends, but what does she want to do? What is she looking for? So her first motivation, she has two, and Ashley also has two. I didn't go back on this, but everyone has more than one motivation because obviously you have, in your daily life, you have, balls you juggle. Those are all, I would say, motivations. But her main motivation, her less main, okay. The motivation we think we know about her is that she is looking to become better at using her powers. And that's why she's teamed up with Ashley. It's because Ashley knows how to use her abilities. That's something she is good at. And Ember is not. Ember can be a good agent, but she has no idea how to use these like fiery powers. And the only person who does is Ashley. That's why she has to team up. That's why she has to work with her if she wants to, move up in the ranks of this agency that, discovered her, that found her. And then her real motivation, the motivation that will be kept from Ashley from the whole time, is the fact that she is spying on Ashley. Right, we talked earlier how she was founded by Director Fallon. Director Fallon, the head of the agency, suspects Ashley of, malicious intent, which Ashley does have. So she's not completely off. And because of this, she partners Ember up with her and asks Ember to spy on her and report back to Director Fallon. So that is her secret motivation behind everything she does. So I'm going to write down both of them. I'm going to do A and B. A, become good agent. Become good at job. B, spy. Spy on Ashley. And that's just the heartbreaking thing, isn't it? Because I've been here setting up this whole time that Ashley's gonna be, Ember's gonna be like this really trustworthy person. Like this, like everything about her kind of screams like not threatening, like easy to get comfortable with. And that's the point. That's who she needs to be to get Ashley to trust her, so you can make sure Ashley doesn't have malicious intent. It's so good. So good. So these are my two characters. We got our protagonist and we got our duder side protagonist. They're gonna work together. They're gonna sometimes be at odds with each other. Actually, they're gonna be at odds with each other, like the whole book. But they're gonna become friends, and they're gonna have things, that bond them together through, their background, through their motivations. Because Ashley, as well as getting revenge and uncovering the truth, also does, her job is the agency. She does believe in doing a good job. So they're connected through that as well. My voice hurts. Maverick Diet Coke is so good. It's so stupid. Ah! So they're connected back to this. And this ties back to our theme. These two are the living embodiment of the theme. And if you remember, our theme is our bonds are stronger than our pain. And our pain comes in a lot of different ways. Both of them have pain. Ember's lot in life was not that great, and she's starting to make up something of it, but she still has, those things still weigh on her, even though I would say for a lot of it, she's become more healed. She still has that. And you know what? She also still doesn't know who she is. She has a lot of self-doubt. She has these insecurities. She doesn't know if she can do a good job because she is not this super agent. She's just this kid someone found off the block and then took a chance on her. And then you have Ashley. And Ashley has this deep-rooted trauma that she could not remember. And it haunts her every single day. And it's forcing her to do really somewhat questionable things. And it hurts. And she doesn't have anyone to talk to about it because she can't trust anyone. So then you take these two people together and you look at their pain and what they have and their strengths and their weaknesses, and they're going to give strength to one another to overcome both of those weaknesses through the course of the story. Because Ember is so trustworthy, maybe Ashley will learn to trust her and in turn maybe trust herself again and sort of allow herself to sort of think beyond the scope of her pain. And Ember, in turn, will see Ashley, who is very strong, who is very direct, and knows exactly what she wants. And in turn, will reflect that in her own life, where she will be more motivated to know, to do her tasks, to do her directives, to find out what kind of agent she's going to be. And you know what? It's kind of like life. Because you know what? I am both of these things. I want to be stronger. I want to know who I am. I want to trust people more. So it's going to be great. It's going to be so good. It ties back to our theme. Our bonds are stronger than our pain. So good. All right. Now I'm going to take a moment. I've got to take a moment and talk about lovely people at the Hive Collaborative. You'll see my little coaster right here. No. See my little coaster at the Hive Collaborative. Now, the Hive Collaborative is my family's company. We're a production company. And they've supported me my whole life, and they've actually sponsored this live stream. And by sponsored, I mean everything in this room is the Hive Collaborative. This computer, these lights, this whiteboard, this coaster. Everything you see is straight from the Hive Collaborative, and I cannot be more grateful for them helping me to do this. I love you. And if you are also interested in doing a project like this at the Hive Collaborative, I highly recommend going to the links in my channel description and checking out our website, looking at how we can serve you, because we can do so many things here. If you're interested at all in producing, learning, acting, writing, drawing, there are so many things, so many products we have lined up available that you can do. Specifically, Hive Studio that we're getting started, that is supposed to be a set of courses by different teachers where you can learn specialized skills in a specific set of time depending on what sort of package you want to do. And if you also love theater like I do, then you're also going to want to check out Triple Play that's coming up, because Triple Play is our set of 3 plays coming up throughout this year, and you can audition or you can come see, and they're brand new. Well, one of them's been done before, but mostly brand new set of plays. They're completely original, written by members of my family. So definitely check that out if you're in the Provo, Utah area. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to go into more characters. Let's talk about other people in this story. So we have our 2 main protagonists. I want to tell you guys more about the deuter antagonist and the antagonist. So I'm going to take this down. Where's my thing? And I'll tell you more about the different entities and different characters in this story that I have invented. I'm gonna keep these up because I'm also gonna do these for the characters, but I'm gonna make a little board, and I'm gonna write down the 3 other important characters in this story that their motivations are gonna matter. No, 4. Sorry, 4 other characters in the story. So first you have, write that down. First you have Director Fallon, who we talked a little bit with Ember's past and Ember's story. So Director Fallon is the head of the agency that we're going to call Glove, or a different name if somebody can find out a good name for brokering peace. The reason behind Glove was purely because I planned for a lot. It has to do with the world building of their powers. But I might change that because that's not important to the story. The thing that's important to the story are the characters and their way in this world and how they're going to go about it. So that's going to be a brainstorming live stream for another day. So, Director Fallon. She used to have a different name, but I renamed her to match her personality more distinctly. She used to be called like Betty Bonnie, and it was kind of a joke because she's supposed to be like a very like tough, mean person, but it's kind of a stupid name. But then I was like, no, I'm not gonna give her a stupid name. She needs to have a cool name because she's a cool character and she's a cool person and she's gonna have a big effect on the protagonist. So we've got Director Fallon, number 1. Then we have Professor Gray. Professor Gray is as it says in the name, a professor at a college somewhere, a very high-tech college that I'll probably make up. No switcher connected. What happened? Can you guys still see me? Oh, we're back. We good. Nothing happened. This technology confuses me. Okay. Okay, Professor Gray. Professor Gray was also a character I renamed because I recently just started college and I really I really enjoyed it, and I'm using some elements that I'm discovering, including, professors and like the way they sort of, work, like the things they do. Like, they seem really cool to me. I don't know. I'm such a freaking nerd, okay? I freaking love teachers, okay? They're awesome. So I'm making him a professor. He's Professor Gray. He used to be called Leo Sampson, and he was gonna be like this like rich billionaire Tony Stark sort of character. But I like the idea of making him just sort of a specialist, sort of someone set in his field, kind of like a nobody, but very intelligent, very smart. And the reason he ties into the story is because when Ashley escapes whatever she was, whatever happened to her, she is struggling with her powers, right? She has this electric ability that is unfounded, that nobody knows how to treat. Like, it's causing medical things, like her heart's beating really fast, her like she's having caffeine rush all the time because so much like energy is flooding her. And so they bring in Professor Gray. Professor Gray is a specialist in, I want to say biology, in like human biology, in electricity, in everything they need to sort of like handle this crazy teenager who just got electrocuted to heck. So they got her. And he helps her. He helps, her recover physically from what happened to her, and is a big part. And because of this, later in the story, when she needs to find someone she can trust, she goes to this guy because he's just a nobody. He's just a random specialist they picked up, but he was really kind to her and he helped her. So she's gonna go back to him and ask him for help. So then we have Conrad Grimm, who, this character is a new character. This character is not one that showed up in any of the other iterations. This is purely someone I invented to fill a role that I needed. And I might go through name changes because Conrad Grimm, again, is very on the nose. I'm aware. I have toyed with the idea that this is not actually his real name, but it's more of a title, like what's a good comparison? Like Mary Jane is a title, a name you give to people you don't. No, not Mary Jane. Yeah, it's Mary Jane. No, John Doe. John Doe is a name you give for people you don't know the name of. It's kind of like that, but with this communicator. This guy's a part of our antagonists. This guy is a scumbag. This guy sucks. This guy is going to be the communicator between all these different entities. And I'll get into these too. So I have the agency. I've talked a lot about that, but I haven't talked a lot about our vice to it. So we have our good agency, but we also have our group of evil entities. And of course, I'm making them up. I really don't want this to be a Shield Hydra situation. I don't want it to be a direct copy off of that. No, I want it, because like I always saw Shield and Hydra as like two sides of the same coin. I don't want that. I want them to be completely different ballparks, okay? I want them to be different levels of currency. That's the different kind of coins I want, okay? Where one is about unity, one is about peace, one is about you know, like helping people close deals and like create harmony. The other one is going to be the complete opposite, okay? They're going to be division. They're going to be divisive. They want to ruin everything to gain more power. They want people to get mad. They want to control everything, but they also don't want the control to be in anyone's hands. It's almost like, what's the word? It's almost anarchist, but also sort of greedy and like wanting to control everything. So you know, these group of individuals, these group of high powerful individuals, really influential people who have sort of gathered together, and they are working together with other people with the same interests. And in order to send these messages to these people, like, hey, give me this and I'll give you that, they send it through Conrad Grimm. Conrad Grimm is the communicator. And in a way, he's also kind of the head. Because if you are the chain that holds all the other things together, maybe you're actually top dog. So that's him. That's his character. He's going to be quite a douche. Real scummy type of guy. Really no good. I can't wait to figure out his voice, okay? Because it's just going to be like all the worst, like crummy, gooey, moldy things in my brain into a person. Okay. And then we have maybe one of the most interesting characters of all. We have our true antagonist. I call him Armament. Now, armament is a word that is like for artillery of weapons. Like, that's what it means. This guy, this villain is not unheard of in my other iterations. I invented this villain to be a, you know, mirror, to be a dark potential future sort of thing to what's it called? To the characters, to the main characters. But he wasn't going to be like the real like main guy. There was going to be this other girl, and she was going to be terrible, awful too, because it was based off of a girl that I didn't like in 4th grade. A lot of this goes back to 4th grade. I'm scrapping a lot of it now. I've grown, people, okay? This is growth, okay? I'm letting go of the ideas I wanted to do in 4th grade. But she is going, not she, okay, so she's scrapped. I let go of her. But I made this like secondary character to sort of like back up the villain side. And it was based off this artillery of weapons idea where he would be trained in all different weapons. So he would have a weapon that could turn to a bow, turn into a sword, turn into a gun, turn into a thing. Excuse me. Oh, don't hit the thing. I'm so sorry. Could turn into so many different things. And he would be like red and black sort of thing, or like typed weapons, and he would be like an assassin. He would work directly under Conrad Grimm. He would be like the muscle. But more than the muscle, he is going to be directly linked back to Ashley's origin. She will, when she first meets him, she will distinctly remember that he was there. And not only was he there, he might have been responsible. And when she remembers this, it's going to paint him in her mind as this just monster, this complete demon almost. And he's going to move like it too. He's going to be fast. He's going to be overpowering. He's going to be really just menacing and terrible and awful. And he's going to thwart them at every single turn. and he's going to be emotionless. He's going to be completely stone, almost like a robotic sort of person, but still with that hint of malice underneath it. It's going to be very, very menacing. And he's going to be directly linked with Ashley's arc through the story, is what I want. And he doesn't have a redemption arc. That's not what this is. He is truly a terrible, crummy person. But when we learn more about him, I want to humanize him over the course of the story. So write it down, armament. And we'll write down his motivations and looks too. Where are we on time? 7:26. We're going to stop at 7:45. So I've got 20 minutes.
Armament. Scary.
Okay. Okay, we're losing self-realization. I know, it's sad. Okay, we got armament. I'll make these a little closer together. Okay. I'm going to go through these really fast in the next 20 minutes because I want to talk about more about how they all tie back into the premise and the theme, because it's really important to me. It's this theme. I want everything to tie back to it because I really want to tell this story. So, okay, we're going to go through this fast. Where's my marker? Where's my marker? Where's my drink? Where's my thing? Okay. Go. Okay. Director Fallon, she is honest. She wants to run the agency. I imagine in some way she did or was a part of the founding of the agency that's meant to broker peace. But she does that by being cold and cutting and calculating. She's a lot like Ashley in a way, but I would say that the thing that makes them the most distinct is that Director Fallon knows how to keep cards closer to her chest without people realizing she is. And, yes, okay, so her motivation, she wants to know what's up with Ashley, because Ashley's acting weird, but she also wants to make sure that Gauntlet, which is my name for the evil agency, I'll write that down. Okay, so we got Glove. Glove is good. Good. And the Gauntlet, which I know sounds like two sides of the same coin thing, but I'm going to change it. These are placeholders. Gauntlet is bad. So good, check. Bad, no, okay? She wants to stop them. She knows that they exist, but she can't prove it. And she also wants to know what's up with Ashley. So she wants to know everything, okay? She wants to know and prove everything. Know and prove evil exists. Stop it. Professor Gray. Professor Gray's motivation. Now he's a little more interesting because he doesn't really have a motivation, because he's not going to be present until halfway in the story until they need him. But beforehand, his motivation was mostly just to help Ashley because he was called into this job. He's a very empathetic person. He's very calm. He's very gives snowy owl vibes, like old snowy owls. Yeah, it's very much that energy. So he gives off that he just wants to help. He wants to do, I guess he just wants to help, but he also, that's not quite right. He needs to be slightly more. He wants to help because he cares. I would say that maybe he has, not like a savior complex, but a really strong need to serve, born out of, he wants to fix everything. You take pain away. He's just a naturally caring, empathetic person. I guess he just wants to see things be right. He wants to see things be righted. So, see the world righted. All right, Conrad Grimm, this scumbag. I would say he wants more power. He's this sort of middleman for really powerful people, but he's not actually that powerful, and I think that eggs at him. I think he wants true power, whatever way he can get it. Now, Armament is interesting because he doesn't kind of want anything, because he is a soldier, he's a machine, he's an assassin. He just follows orders. So for now, I'm gonna put his motivation as purely question mark, because he doesn't even know. He just follows orders. That's who he is. All right, looks. Director Fallon. I really like the idea that she's a really, really tough abuela. She's really scary. She's got, like, I always thought she had like really gray hair, and she might have like a titch of an accent that just makes you fear for your life, man. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Like, someone with like a slightly like rolled R's just comes up and it's just like, get it together. Like, you believe them. So, yeah. So she's an older woman, gray hair, but she's very tough. You know, very strong. How dare you? Very strong. Gray hair, tough woman. Woo. Professor Gray. He's gonna have muted colors, but he's gonna be like a softer person. He's gonna show in his glasses. Like, imagine he has cute little round glasses. You know, little old guy round glasses. I'm gonna cough again. Burp. This is the problem with drinking caffeine on camera. Gonna burp. Okay. Nobody clip that. Glasses. Roundish face. No, yeah, roundish face. I was incredibly square. Round face. Soft features. Soft features. Soft features. Yeah. Kind of plain, almost. Like, I want him so, like, pleasantly plain. And then you have Conrad Grimm. Now, see, the stereotypical thing to do would be to make him look snake-like and slick and creepy-like. I don't want to do that. How can I make him look scummy without making him look like a stereotype? What if he's really buff, to be honest? Like, what if he's, like, kind of like a strong, like, he looks like he could be a football player. Like, football player, but, like, it's all for looks. Like, football player physique, but it's all fake. And he's got, like he's almost too perfect, which makes him look, ugh, you know? What's a good, like, it reminds me of, like, Chris Evans in The Gray Man. Like that, kind of like that, you know, but a little less like golf mustache. Armament, I want to have black hair because I want him to have really, really direct features. So black hair, strong physique, but not overly buff because he's not small, I would say, but he's not huge. I would say he's actually smaller than Conrad. Then you have, what am I moving? Oh yeah. Then you have background, where they're all from. Now this is probably the part that I have done the least work on because I don't really know. So comment down below, like, your initial thoughts when you hear these characters, where you think they're from. Because I know a little bit about Armament. I know his past. His has to do with some of the origin that also has to do with Ashley, which I'll talk about in the deep dive of Ashley's character that I'm going to do one day, because he's going to be heavily referenced in that through the origin. So his past is more talked about there. Professor Gray, I imagine, has a dead wife. I don't know why. Screams dead wife to me. You know, I'm just going to write that down. Dead wife. He's a widow. Dead mama, dead mom. I have a dead wife. Okay. Conrad Grimm. I don't know. I don't like the idea that he's like come up from nothing and that's why he loves power so much. I'd almost just prefer she was just kind of psychotic his whole life. Like he just has a good life, and then he's just kind of still a swiny bitty, you know. So basic past, and he's just awful. Maybe it's just deep insecurities he never got over. Somebody dumped him in 3rd grade, never got over him. This is not like real life at all. How am I doing? I got 10 minutes. Got 10 whole minutes left. Awesome. Okay, I've got Director Fallon. Director Fallon's history. Well, I know that the agency is a huge part of it because it's something she created. He's going to be like this founder character, this really big pillar. Oh, it's such a good word. She's a pillar of strength in this book that like people can really rely on. Specifically Ember. Ember can really rely on this. This is something that really helped her quite a bit. So she is this pillar. I like the idea that she, unlike Conrad, like she did also kind of build herself up. Like I like the idea that she has this like good foundation with her, like with a family, but she was more poor, and then she just kind of built this up and became this head honcho, and yeah, never stops working. So real, it reminds me almost like, everyone's seen that Zootopia story about Mr. Big. It's like that. Except for more wholesome, I suppose, than becoming a mafia family. So mafia, mommy. Just kidding. Okay, mafia mommy. Okay, personality. We've kind of gone through this. We've talked about this before, you know. Strong, resilient, caring, honest, scumbag. And then Armament also, don't know, because he's just this lifeless husk, demon of a person. I can't wait to write him, because I want to write him in a way that just makes him sound so scary, and I don't know how to put that on the words on the page. So that's who they are. And who they are to Ember and to Ashley. To Ashley and Ember. See, it goes both ways. And they all told back to the theme, because the theme is our bonds are stronger than our pain. And I think a really big difference between our main characters, our supporting characters, and our antagonists is the fact that our antagonists don't have bonds. They don't have, like, they're going to be working directly with each other. Like, he's the muscle, he's the brains, but they're not friends. They're not, you know, they're not even related. They're not related to each other at all, okay? They just work together. They just have the same goal. So because of this, because they don't have these bonds, they still have their own pain. And that's going to show itself, it's going to be prevalent, and it's going to be their downfall eventually. While as our main characters, through their bonds with each other, with Ashley and Ember's friendship, but also these two as their mentors is also going to help them become stronger, because it's going to be, you know, a solve when they don't quite trust each other. They have other people to back up, because you can't just have one bond, okay? Don't just be resilient on one person in your life. You need a group, okay? You need multiple people, because one of them will get sick, and you need backups. Backups are good. Create backup bonds. Awesome. So that is all of our characters. I mean, not all. There will be other little smaller side characters. But that is all of our characters that are important for this story that we really need to flesh out. I might create more like little side characters as I come and meet them. And I will try to make a sort of system to, like, yeah, looks, background, personality, motivation between all of them and try to remember. But as of this point, these are who they are. We got our protagonists, our supporting characters, and our antagonists. And of course, we have what their affiliations are with Glove and Gauntlet. Good agency, bad agency. And I'm going to go more next time as we're plotting into really like what they are, what they're from, because I'm still fleshing that out. I know Glove pretty well, but the villains, I've always had a harder time writing villains than I have writing heroes. I'm great at writing heroes, okay? Cannot write villains, okay? I don't know how to do it, okay? But I'm gonna do it for you guys. We're gonna do it together on camera. It's gonna be great. So that's who they are. And we're gonna plot next time. I'm using the 27 chapter method for this story. I've already kind of plotted it out. That's why I'm talking like I really know this already, because I've thought about this a lot. So using the 27 chapter method, and it's gonna start, we're gonna do 1 through 13 next time, going through like, this is what I wanna have happen. This is where the theme is really gonna show itself in its progression. People's arcs, Ashley's arcs, Ember's arcs, our supporting cast arcs. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. I'm really curious to know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. If you guys happen to watch this later, let me know if there's anything I can do to add to this. Cause yeah, I'm pretty new at this, to be honest. I'm talking, I feel like decently confidently, like I know what I'm doing. But I'm completely self-taught. I've never taken a class. I've never, had my work heavily reviewed by professionals. I've never, I've finished some short stories and I've posted them, on places, but I'm pre-professional, as you say. Sophie Rose, pre-professional author. I have many fictional publications, but I hope over the course of this, I can really see where I'm lacking, and I can really see where I can go to get better, see what I'm missing, see what I'm still looking for. So awesome. If you guys have been here the whole time, thank you so much. Probably no one, and that's totally fine. But if you happen to watch